Can you see me too?
Yep, I can see you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Good to see you.
Nice to
Once,
see you as well.
and congratulations.
Oh,
Congratulations on the President Award by Thinkers 50.
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So tell me how I pronounce your name. Is it Adedoyan or do I pronounce it differently?
Yes, how are they doing? It's perfect.
Adedoyan. Okay, got it. Got it,
It's
got it,
perfect.
got it. Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, so thank you. And so how do you want to do this morning?
Okay. First of all, let me just quickly do a brief introduction because I have
Okay.
a community, a group of people called
Okay.
Young Professionals Academy. So I'm going to share this with them. Recently, we
Okay.
had a discussion and we talked about disruptive skills, and they
Got it.
wanted to know more about this. And
Mhm.
I'm going to share this with them. So thank you. Let me just quickly do a brief introduction. Whitney
Okay.
Johnson is the CEO of WLJ Advisors and one of the 50 leading business thinkers in the world, as named by Thinkers 50 recently. So she's an expert on helping high growth organizations develop high growth individuals. Whitney is an award-winning author, a world-class keynote speaker. So welcome here with me, Whitney Johnson. So thank you, Whitney.
Thank you, Adedoyan, for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. So let's quickly go over to the question. First
Yep.
of all, Whitney, what are disruptive skills?
It's such a great question. And when you think about disruptive skills, I've outlined in my book, Disrupt Yourself, a 7-point framework of personal disruption. And I recognize that in Nigeria, it might not be possible to get a copy of the book, but if you listen to the podcast episodes, Disrupt Yourself, episode 100 and 120, you can start to get a feel for what they are. But here's what it is at its simplest. A disruptive skill is something that you do well that people around you don't. And part of the reason it's disruptive is because it's so easy for you, so natural, so reflexive, you don't actually value it. And so you think of it as this silly little thing, and yet that silly little thing that you do very, very well that you don't value is what's going to allow you to basically take over, if not the world, certainly your world. And some of the ways that you can figure out what your disruptive skills are is to ask yourself 3 questions. One of them is, what makes you feel strong? And if you're saying to yourself, well, I don't know what makes me feel strong, over the next couple of days, every time you've finished doing something, ask yourself, like, do I have more energy right now? Do I feel like good? And if so, then that's a signal that this is a strength. If you find yourself feeling really depleted when you're finished, just exhausted, that might be a signal that it's not a strength. And so you'll see this pattern that's pointing you in the direction of what makes you feel strong. The second question that you can ask yourself to figure out what your disruptive skills are is, what frustrates you or exasperates you? If you find yourself in a situation when someone says, well, that was really great how you did that, and you're like, oh, anybody can do that. Like, that's just common sense. Or you find yourself like, why don't they get it? Like, and it could be something simple like, how come they don't have a good sense of direction? Or how come they can't spell very well? Whatever it might be. Those are things that are strengths of yours that you want to make sure that you're aware of. And as you're going about your career and deciding which role you're going to take or which job you're going to take, make sure that you're leveraging those. And then the third clue that I want to give you to figure out what your disruptive skills are is to look at what compliments people give you. When it's so easy when someone says, hey, you did XYZ really well, to just deflect it and say, oh, no, I don't do that well. Or even say to yourself, well, they say that all the time. Like when I was a little girl, people would tell me, you play the piano really well. And I did not like that compliment. I got so tired of it. I wanted people to say, well, you do this, or you do that, or this other thing really well. Not recognizing that the fact that I played the piano well was a strength that I have, and how could I use that, and how could I leverage that? So the 3 clues that I want to give you are, number 1, what makes you feel strong? Number 2, what frustrates you or exasperates you? And number 3, What compliments do you dismiss? And then recognize that what powers are often going to be things you overlook. And yet, if you want to be successful in your life, in your career, you're going to identify those things that you do extremely well and figure out how to do them even better. So that's a quick overview of a disruptive skill.
Oh, wow. Thank you. So could we then say that there is a significant difference between a normal skill that someone has, what you call me too skill? So there's a significant difference between disruptive skills and the me too skills.
That's interesting. So when you say me too skills, Adedoyin, are you saying, so everybody else does that and I do it too? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're describing?
Exactly. That's a normal skill that people have. Yes, that's what I'm describing.
Yeah. So here's what I would say to you. I think that there